Okay, is it working? Yeah. We got there eventually. Thanks for sticking around. How are you? Is everybody all right? Has everyone got a drink in their hand? Good, good. Okay, so we've got a few fighters for you. We're going to pull them out. Same deal as before. We've got the questions you can ask.
On the way. Got this in it.
See, as soon as Conor McGregor gets in the building, everything falls apart. Everything goes crazy. How was that? Enjoy it? Any predictions for the fight? I thought so. Okay, if anyone can hear me in the back, let's get these fighters on stage. There's no one backstage, it's just me on my own. Anybody? Honestly, they're there. Oh, here we go. Okay, make some noise. Ashley Daly, Paddy Holohan, Paul Redmond, Neil Seery. Have a seat, gentlemen. I think we're missing 2 fights. I think they've gone to the toilet. It's all very excitable. Here we go. Cathal Pendred. Okay, might as well jump straight into this. We're missing 2 guys. We're missing Joe Duffy and Norman Parke, but they'll be here in a second. They're just, I don't know what they're doing. I don't want to know. Okay, can we see a microphone? Yeah. Who's up at the microphone? We got a first question? Okay, there we go. Let's get a light on that guy.
Hey, how's everybody tonight? I want to know every one of your predictions for July 11th.
Okay.
Have you been drinking?
What?
Have you been drinking?
I don't think so. My cup, it's looking kind of empty though. Hey, 2 boys.
Joe Duffy, Norman Parke. Okay, so predictions for the McGregor-Aldo fight, starting with Joe.
I see McGregor taking him out with inside 3.
Inside 3, I remember.
Knockout, KO.
Joe, what a fucking knockout, man.
Yeah, let's just make some noise for that. That was a beautiful debut. Let's just make some noise one more time.
Come on! That was a fucking beautiful knockout.
Norman Parke, what's your prediction?
I believe Conor will take him out within the first 3 rounds, you know, but it'll be interesting to see if Aldo can take the heavy power punches.
Aldo's only a pussy.
It'll be interesting to see if he can take, if Aldo can take him into the later rounds to see if he can deal with the power, but my prediction, if I'm a betting man, I think that Conor will knock him out, to be honest, yeah.
That's the only honest answer.
Cathal!
If I was to say anything else, then Conor would take him out in the first round. If I was to say anything different, he'd kick my ass in training tomorrow, so I'll go round 1, Conor.
Ashley?
Yeah, I'm going the same as Cathal. We know he's going to do it anyway. Like, first round knockout.
Neil, what's your prediction?
I think more or less it's going to come down to the better game plan. I think that you have to factor the game plan into this fight because we've got 2 serious athletes, 2 serious bangers. But like, obviously, as an Irish man, I've been on the same shows as Conor from the start. I hope Conor does it, but I really do think that it's going to come down to who has the better game plan on the night.
Paddy?
To me, it's this fight is lion versus lion, and Conor's been ripping through the jungle, and it's time to come to an end, I think, for Aldo. I have a lot of respect for Aldo as a fighter and things like that, but when Mystic Max says it, you know what I mean? You put your money on it.
Paul, you're up.
Yeah, I think Conor beats him in 2, to be honest, 2 rounds. Just the way he's been walking through everybody in the top, like his last 4 fights, he's just ran through them, you know. I think 2 rounds and it'll be finished.
So clean sweep for McGregor then,
right?
Thank
you very much, and fucking thank you to every one of you on that fucking stage.
Thank you, sir. Who's up next?
I have a question for Joe. Joe, you're over in Montreal now. How are you getting on with GSP?
Oh, me and GSP are tight. No, he's, I met him a few times at the gym. Wild, nice fella, and a great champion. So, great guy to be around.
Thank you. Next question.
188, you're fighting Augusto Montano. We want a fucking finish, man. Come on. Knock his fucking head off. Come on.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
Paddy, when's the next time we're getting in the octagon, man? We're dying for another fight, man.
That's why Sean Shelby rings John's red phone. John rings my normal phone. And then boom, we're fighting.
Paddy, we want you getting that fucking flyweight title. Come on, man.
Man, I'm telling you now, I'm chasing the gold,
Cheers, man.
Next question, sir.
Question for Joseph Duffy. Joseph, you went into the UFC at light heavyweight, or lightweight. You're going to drop down to featherweight now. Is that because of Conor McGregor's run train that he's on with Jose Aldo? Or is that just based on purely what you were planning on doing?
Tell you the truth, I didn't have any intentions of dropping. When I went out to Montreal, the coaches were looking at my frame and they thought, I would fit perfectly in at 145. So it's still not a definite. We're playing around with the idea. When I go back out now in a few weeks, I'll do a trial cut and then we'll go from there.
Do you know where you're at the moment? Do you think you'll make 145, or are you only going on this for the hype train?
I don't think you'll make welterweight.
No,
Look at him.
And that's no disrespect to you, man. You've got your shit together.
Tell you the truth, I'm in good hands. I'm working with George Lockhart as well. So, if they think I can make it, then it's a strong possibility I can make the drop. So, we'll see how it goes.
Best of luck in the UFC, man.
Thanks a million.
Thank you. Thanks for your question. You're up next, sir.
It's for Joe Duffy. After your last fight, you said you had to talk to your girlfriend and see where you're going forward. When's your next fight? I can't wait.
Nothing pending at the minute. Hopefully we'll know in the next few weeks. I would love to get on the, on the corner card. That'd be awesome.
You need to get on that quickly, man.
Thank you.
Okay, what's up next?
Oh yeah, I have a question for Aisling.
Question for me, yes.
You were supposed to fight Claudia Gadelha there, and she got injured. But I was just wondering, where did the beef between you come from?
To be honest, there isn't any beef, and there wasn't. She did release a statement after she pulled out a fight, saying that I've been talking shit, but I actually think she was just completely confusing me with Conor. Whatever. I'm sure Jose is sitting on the mat giving out about Conor to her, and she got a bit confused and thought that was me. I honestly didn't say anything, and I heard somebody shouting their steroids, and I don't know anything about that, but we were both due to be tested. Neither of us actually got around to being tested, and she was gone, so think from that what you will, but I have my fight rescheduled now, so April 25th.
Yeah, and so you're fighting Ronda Marcos next. How do you think that's going to go?
I'm feeling super confident in that fight, to be honest. Obviously, Ronda was a teammate in the Ultimate Fighter, and I got to train with her a lot, and to be honest, in training I was just better than her in every range, so I know I have that going for me going into the fight. So she's tough, she has good heart, but you'll never beat the Irish on heart anyway, so...
Alright, good luck in that fight, thanks.
Thank you.
Have you had any kind of switch of game plan? Obviously now you've got a different opponent. Have you changed much?
I actually haven't changed anything. Claudia is predominantly a wrestler, so a lot of the stuff we were working on was kind of anti-clinch stuff and defending the takedown, and Ronda is like a weaker version of Claudia with slightly sloppier takedowns, so same plan, same focus, just different opponent.
Excellent. You're up, sir.
Let's go. I have two questions, one for Ash and one for Paddy, so we'll go ladies first. Ash, do you think the change of opponent will affect future title hopes, whether you might have to take an extra fight now that you're fighting a less ranked opponent?
In honesty, yeah, I do think it will cause a bit of a problem. You know, it was one of the reasons why I was so disappointed that Claudia pulled out, especially in the manner that she did pull out. So I think it probably will end up being an extra fight along the road. You know, they need a title contender, so, you know, the fight against Randa, win over Randa doesn't really do much for me. It's not going to put me into title contention. So I think one more fight, and then we'll have another belt in the gym.
And just sorry, follow-up question for Paddy. Paddy, you and Louis Smoke have been talking a bit of trash on Twitter to each other. Do you want to hit him a few slaps, do you?
I don't intentionally want to hear anybody in an environment that doesn't involve me having to punch them in the mouth. But when that door closes and people start mentioning my name, I'm a nice guy, but I'm telling you now, I'm twice as double as nasty as I can be. You know what I mean? That's how it works. And
I'm just wondering, Paddy, do you and Neil remember taking a piss beside me in the Jacks?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do.
Oh, I was pissed.
Yes, sir.
Hello, my first question for Paddy. What was it like when you won the O2 last year? Because I was there, it was fucking mental.
I actually kind of got like a little shiver at the door there again when I felt the energy, because only the Irish can create this energy, because I've been in stadiums in different places and we create it. You know, there it is again. That's it. And man, you would have had to kill me stone dead that day. No one was taking that away from me. And thanks to you, for all of you, for sparing us on that day. Thank you.
I was lucky enough to be Octagon side commentating on that event, and I have never ever heard a fight right at the start of the card get that kind of reaction. It was unbelievable. Just from me on my own, thank you to you fans for making that night amazing, because it was like nothing I'd ever experienced. 110 decibels in the O2 Arena. That broke
Paddy
records.
is always the people's main event.
So that was quite emotional, you being in the house, away from your teammates, watching them compete. What was that like? Did you feel so far away, or did you actually feel like you had a team at home waiting for you?
It was a horrible experience, knowing that the guys were preparing for such a big deal at home, you know, and not being involved in it. Obviously, I've been involved in the Irish MMA scene pretty much since the beginning. So this was like our big coming out party, and I was missing it. But to actually get to see the event, it just done me so much good in the house, you know. It really gave me a lift. Like that house was torture. Like, I can't imagine anything worse than the situation that I was in. So definitely it was a huge boost, and to see all the lads win and in the style that they did, and see the crowd at home and the reactions and just the atmosphere and everything was amazing. You know, it was definitely, I'd say it got me through the whole Ultimate Fighter experience. I probably would have went home if that hadn't happened.
I've got one more question. Is any of the fighters there fighting on the Glasgow card in July?
Say that one more time.
Is anyone on the stage fighting on the Glasgow card in July?
I don't think any of us are official for it, but I think we all want to be on it. It would be a pretty nice card, you know. The Scots
Message
and the Irish.
Neil, he'll let you know on Facebook. He has tickets too, yeah.
Free tickets.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you. Next question.
Just wondering, as a nation, we're known for being excellent amateur boxers. Do you think that we're setting a precedent for being, you know, this being a good UFC martial art to be reckoned with now because of Conor McGregor? Because clearly his stand-up boxing is better than anybody in the division.
I don't see any other stages in the world looking like this, do you?
And just one more question for Dan Hardy, just because you're a fan favourite over here. Any chance of you getting in the octagon anytime soon?
You got all these good fighters, and you don't want to see me fight when you got this talent. Yeah, I'd like a couple more. I'd like maybe 2 more fights. I've just been speaking to Dana backstage, and he's trying to convince me, oh no, you've got a career in commentary. It's not the same, you know. When I get in the octagon and interview these guys after their fights, and I've got my arm around them, I'm just feeling that energy that they're putting off. I miss that. I'll be honest, I miss that. I miss all of this. Honestly, I'd love to fight again, yeah. I'd like maybe 2 more.
Dan Hardy for Dublin.
Anybody who went 5 rounds at GSP is a force to be reckoned with, you know.
Next question, sir.
Hey, how's it going? I have a question for Joe.
I was just wondering if you think that the fact that you're the last person to beat Conor McGregor, do you think that kind of gave you an advantage in getting your first UFC contract?
Yeah, massively. Obviously, look at all you guys here. This is kind of publicity is generating. I think that was a massive piece to do with it. Obviously, come back 2 wins and what Conor's doing as well. I think that's definitely one of the reasons I'm on the stage now.
Thank you. Next question, Carlos Condit.
This is the question for Aisling. After you smash Brandon Marcus, will a rematch with Jessica Penne be on?
I'd be delighted with that rematch because I'm still not convinced I lost the last one. So yeah, that I'd be definitely on for that. I'd finish her on this one though.
And a question for Paddy Holohan.
Paddy, you're up.
How many fights do we need to get a top 15 flyweight?
I don't know, but if they just keep sending them, I'll just keep fighting them.
Alright, thanks.
Next question, please.
Question to Pendred there. How do you feel about Joe Rogan's commentary in your last fight, which I felt was a bit biased and a little bit ignorant to the fact that you played a very good game and won that fight, but he didn't fucking say that way. And I think you won that fight straight up.
Joe does his job. He calls it as he sees it, but it was a bit annoying watching it back. It seemed like he was just concentrating on picking my game apart, and he wasn't really talking about what I was doing well and just talking about what I wasn't doing well. I wasn't particularly happy with the performance, so I was a bit annoyed myself just for that fact. I still believed I won, but I was disappointed in the fight, and then I heard about all that stuff, and it kind of pissed me off. But look, I'm just focused on my next fight. I plan on going out to Mexico on June 13th and smashing this guy and getting.
Come on, I'll be behind you all, 100%. We're all behind you, all right?
I know you are.
I've got to ask you. You've not got a nickname, right?
Some people call me the Punisher.
It's got to be the Comeback Kid.
The Comeback Kid.
It's got to be the Comeback Kid. I've never ever seen anybody with as much heart as you, dude. Honestly, that Mike King fight was amazing. Really, really an honour to commentate it. Next question, please. Who we got? Guy in the hat.
Well, guys, just first question would be for Ash. I know obviously your fight's changed up now, and you have a new opponent. Do you think you have enough time to change your game plan, or did you have a particular plan going into the first fight, or how do you feel about that?
The game plan that I had for the first one kind of transitions over quite well to this. A lot of time I don't really plan specifically for an opponent. I just try and focus on what I'm good at. My game has improved so much over the last while. I used to be predominantly a wrestler, wrestler grappler, and now I can strike pretty good too. I have a little bit of a cool kind of unorthodox style. So I'm looking forward to actually giving that a run out in the next fight. I'm just feeling super confident for this one. You're going to see another win. That's it.
Just a second quick question for Cottle. I know obviously PEDs is a big, huge thing in the UFC now, and you obviously fought a guy that was pegged for it as well. How do you feel altogether about that? Is it a big issue? Do you think it should be zero tolerance? What do you think yourselves?
I would love to see a zero tolerance policy. With PEDs, it's different in combat sports compared to other sports, whereas you're facing a competitor who's on PEDs. It directly affects you because this guy is punching harder, hitting harder, and it's affecting your safety. So I think it's even more important to be stringent on PEDs in combat sports. But the UFC are taking the right measures. As we saw, Chris Weidman mentioned that he got a call on the door, I think at 6:30 yesterday morning, to get tested for his next fight. So they're taking the right steps and they're cleaning up the sport. So I'm delighted to see. We want to see a level playing field and keep the sport clean.
Cheers, thanks.
It's a good question.
My first question is for Norman. Norman, do you reckon the Diego Sanchez fight is ever going to happen, or is he just going to keep ducking you?
Well, I don't think he's ducking me, to be honest. You know, I wanted that fight. Diego was a household name. I thought it was a great opportunity to get on the first Mexican fight card. It never happened. But, you know, maybe down the future, if the opportunity represents itself, I'll take it. But before we'll even go there, I've just got word from Uncle Dana that I can get the go-ahead to announce my next fight. Does anyone here like Brazilians? Well, I'm going to be travelling to Brazil May 30th, and I'm going to completely take his head clean off. I'm going to be fighting... Well, I actually got offered Edson Barboza, but unfortunately, you know, I heard a few days later that he was injured. I thought it was a great opportunity for me to compete against a top 10 opponent. I jumped straight up the opportunity. It never came off. He was injured, so they offered me Gilbert Burns May 30th in Brazil. So I'm going into enemy territory, and I'm going to completely smash it, man.
My second question is for Carl. Carl, do you reckon you're going to bring CM Punk over here and just beat him down like he deserves?
I would have loved that fight for one reason and one reason only. All the money. But that fight's beyond me now at this stage. I potentially could have got it for you know, my next fight coming up, but I've already been scheduled in, and I was already way too past CM Punk, but I thought there was a possibility to get it. Now, you know, I'm a seasoned veteran. I'm looking for a ranked opponent after I beat this Mexican, so that fight's gone.
Cheers, guys.
Next question. So a bit of quiet, guys.
What made you all start thinking about doing UFC?
Say that one more time.
What made you all think about starting UFC?
What made you all think about starting the UFC?
I was fat. I started just to lose a little bit of weight. I never thought I'd get into the competition side of it. Started winning a few fights, and here I am.
Go on, Paddy.
You got to hit people, little man, and no one called the police.
For me, I wanted to test myself against people. You know, from a young age, I've done a lot of sports. I've done a lot of karate, a bit of boxing, the GAA and stuff like that. But when this came around, I had to jump at a chance. I even fought at 77 kilos at one stage just to get a fight. I might have got killed, but I'm up here now.
Ash?
For me, I started off as a little girl, about 10 or so, doing karate, and then when I was about 14, discovered Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I've always been a competitive person, and it just kind of spiraled from there. MMA to me has been the ultimate physical and mental competition, and I've always just been working towards being the best, and obviously the UFC is the best organisation in the world, so as soon as they got a women's division, I was eyeing that up. 135 was a little bit big for me, but 115 came along, and here I am.
I just started off as a fan, and I was playing rugby, and after a while I realised that my favourite part of rugby wasn't actually getting the ball and scoring tries. It was just slamming guys into the ground. So I thought MMA might be a better fit, so I took a class, and from day one it was what I wanted to do, and I just threw everything at it, and I knew I'd get to the UFC one day, and here I am now.
Well, basically, I was just a young lad from the north, you know. I grew up in a little small village of 2,000 people. You know, I was in my mid-teens. I was living a life of destruction. You know, I didn't know where the fuck I was going to go in my life. And I actually found my first judo coach. The guy completely changed my life. And he said, you know, why don't you take all your aggression and bring it into the judo club? So I went and I tried it out one time. And from there, you know, I never really looked back. You know, it gave me, you know, gave me a sense of direction in life. You know, it taught me respect, how to respect people. Something that I found very hard whenever I was growing up. And I'm sure there's many people in the crowd here going through the same, you know, as I'm just saying right now. So if any is going through the same that I was going through, get yourself to the nearest mixed martial arts club, and I guarantee it'll change your life for the rest. for the rest of your life. I've never even thought in my life that I was going to be fighting in UFC. I never thought it, so it's just a dream come true. And I can guarantee you, with my mental attitude, I'll fight to the death.
I started out, I was watching Karate Kid, and that was it. Ever since I've been training. Started when I was 5, and nothing's ever entered my head other than fighting ever since. 5 years ago today, I was trying out for Tough. That didn't go too well, and here we are today on the stage fighting for UFC in front of you guys.
It's nice to see the Karate Kid getting a mention. It was Ninja Turtles for me. I love the Karate Kid, but obviously with being called Daniel, I got Daniel's son. Too much. Just too much. I have a question, because obviously a lot of the time MMA fighters, their aspiration is to get to the UFC. A lot of people don't start their career with aspirations of a UFC title. And obviously, guys like Conor and people like that, they rise so quickly through the sport. Some of us have to battle harder, and we have ups and downs, and sometimes we get called on short notice. And obviously Neil and Paul, you both had short notice fights in the UFC. So what advice would you give to someone that's outside of the UFC that gets that call? It's like, okay, we need you in 2 weeks, we need you in 3 weeks, we need you to cut a massive amount of weight, we need you to fight Brad Pickett. What's your advice to these guys? Do you take it?
Yeah, you jump on it. I was in work on a Thursday, and I was having a great Christmas. I hadn't had one in a few years because I was always fighting New Year's Eve, so I was cutting weight. So I enjoyed my Christmas a little bit too much, and got a phone call about 13 days away from the fight. A massive amount of weight to cut for a weight class I've never made before. We did it, and here I am. So yeah, jump on any opportunities. Just take it. Just jump on it.
So do you feel like your next fight is almost your actual debut, your real debut for the UFC?
Yeah, look, I'll take the last one as my debut. I went in, I did my best with what I could do in 13 days notice. Just fortunately, I was training with Neil for his fight over in Sweden, so I wasn't that out of shape. But having nothing in there, cutting that amount of weight and having nothing in there, I didn't get to show the best of me. So yeah, I'm looking to put on performance the next one. Really am.
Well, for me, it's if you're a fighter, there's only one answer to that question. You dive at that opportunity. This doesn't come around to too many people that often. So it's one of them that, look, get in there, give it all you can got, make your way, and get in there and fight like hell.
Excellent. Next question, please, sir.
Yeah, I just want to personally thank Paddy Holohan, Neil Seery, Carl Pendred, and Norman Parke. You won me and my mates a lot of money last year at WFC.
Beers on you then, right?
And they didn't give them a penny. I will collect my 10% outside.
Oh, no. No, I've got a question for Neil Seery. After you win UFC Sweden, I just wondering if you're looking for a top 10 contender to fight next, and when you look at the fight next.
To be honest, I don't really mind. Obviously, at the age I'm at now, I need to, obviously, to be calling out people. It's not my style, I do want a top 15, top 10 fighter. And to be honest, I'd love everybody here to wreck Sean Shelby's head and get me on that Vegas card. Because I've never fought in America. That's where I want to go.
Thank you.
Fucking love Irish.
Next question. Bit of quiet, guys.
Could I ask Paddy, could I fight him for his shoelaces?
No.
What?
These shoelaces are too good.
Aww.
I'm only messing. I'll get you a pair, alright? And I want to fight you, but I'll get you a pair.
Okay.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi guys, how's everybody? I just want to give you all props, but I want to give Paddy props because somebody who was born and bred in Tala, when you get in the octagon, it makes me proud to see that you represent, so fair play.
Thank you very much, me too. I'm proud of where I am from, and I'll always be living in Tala, so.
We got another question? Mic needs turning on.
Oh yeah, it's working. So not really a question, but one of the guys from Snap made me this T-shirt with one of my quotes. Well, not really. It's a quote I have about having to do with UFC 189. You can't really quite see it, but it's here.
What's it say?
It says, "I'm watching UFC 189 for Lawler versus McDonald." Said no one ever.
Everyone's a comedian.
Well, I actually think it's going to be a good fight, but let's be honest, people. We all know what we came to see. Am I right? In fact, these T-shirts are available now at Snap Charlement.
Brilliant.
If you want one, and all the profits that are made from the shirt go to Irish Autism Action. Thank you.
Saved it at the end there. Next question. What are you going to sell us?
First of all, I want a T-shirt. Guys, I'm interested in mind games because to me it seems Aldo's already 50% beaten, given everything that's gone on in the last 30
Did you ever tell your board that?
I tell her different mind games. But honestly, I want to know, when you're setting up for a fight or whatever, do the mind games play a part, or once you get into the octagon, is that all done or forgotten about?
Is that to everybody?
That's to everybody, yeah.
Okay, let's start with Joe.
I don't find they play a part to me. When I go in there, I just feel empty. I feel no emotion, I feel nothing. And it doesn't matter how many games you play, you're still going to get the same Joe Duffy on the night.
Same for me, it doesn't really come into play. You're either born mentally tough or you're not, you know, but I feel like I've been born mentally tough. I've been brought up the hard way, so smack talk, getting into people's head don't really play a factor to me, and that's it, you know, you just go in there and fight, you know. I know a lot of fighters like to stay on forums and read this and read that, and when they start reading all this shit about people, what they're saying, the predictions of the fight, you know, that can play into their head and then they're already beat, but for me it don't really matter. I just go in there and fight, and that's it really.
I think it's part of the game, and I think it adds to the entertainment value of it. And I've no problems with it. I just think you can't get caught up in it or can't get involved in emotionally in it. You look at Conor; he's the blueprint of how to do it. He winds up the guys, to a T, but he's just having fun. Conor never gets emotionally involved in it or gets wound up himself. He might sometimes look like he's getting wound up to wind up the other guy, but he'll walk backstage and start laughing, and then it always affects the other guy. And I think if you do mess with someone's head, or if your own head starts going, you can lose the fight there. So it's important to just stay focused and not get involved emotionally.
For me personally, mind games or anything like that just wouldn't bother me. You can talk all the smack you want, you can say whatever you want about me. I don't really care, that's not going to bother me. I'm not the type to try and play mind games with my opponent, and at the end of the day the octagon door closes and it's just me and that person in there, and anything they've said, you know, it doesn't matter. Like, we're in there, we're fighting, we're just going to go at it, and that's it. Like, you know, there's no talking in there. We're going to talk with our skills, and that's how it is at the end of the day. So yeah, mind games wouldn't be really my thing.
No, mind games doesn't come into play for me. The first thing I do when obviously we land at the hotel the week before the fight is I walk over, shake my competitor's hand. But look, when the octagon door closes, I'm trying to smash his head in, so it's all the same.
I think the mind is one of the biggest parts of the game, and that should be exercised as well. But if you try to get into my head, you'd need therapy.
I've been fortunate enough not to be have an opponent with mind games or anything like that. But with a teammate like Neil Seery throwing chocolate at you when you're trying to cut weight and water, you don't need that, you know what I mean? So.
Next question.
Sorry, I've got two quick questions, one for everyone and then one for whoever wants to answer. But before I do that, I'll do a bit of like our duty and say, last year I was lucky enough to be at UFC Dublin. And I'd like to thank anyone on the stage that was part of that, because not only did you make history, but you gave me and probably a lot of people here a night they'll never forget. And to Cathal Pendred, you had a comeback that'd make Rocky Balboa himself say, I wish I could do that. That was unbelievable. I've never seen that like it. But the first question is, if you could fight any fighter from Ronda Rousey to Bas Rutten, whether it's to beat them or to have the privilege to lose, who would you fight in one name?
And they have to be a fighter.
A fighter or a boxer, but no, I don't want to hear that usual fucking Adolf Hitler show you just a person. I want a fighter or a boxer, someone who can hit back.
I'd like to fight Floyd Mayweather.
That's a good one.
I'd pay to see that.
Low single, and then that guy would be drowning.
Exactly.
Paul?
One of my favourite fighters was Igor Vovchanchyn. He used to fight in Pride. Big hitter. A lot of knockouts, you know. I'd like to fight him.
Good call, Vovchanchyn. Neil?
I've been a boxing fan. It's always Miguel Cotto. Loved the style of fighting. He always sat in the pocket. He always went to a war, and that's what I'm all about. So that'd be one for me.
Sure, fuck it. I'll fight Ronda. She's a good armbar. I have a good armbar. Let's see how that goes down, and I'll collect a nice check at the end of it.
If he was to ever come back, I'd love to fight GSP. That'd be, he's someone I used to look up to, so I'd love to get in there and fight him. It'd be an honour.
Mine would have to be Floyd Mayweather, for the simple fact that, I don't think he would ever get near me because Ronda Rousey would completely fuck him up.
Mine would have to be Vandalay. He's been in many wars over the years, and it'd be a big privilege to have a war with Vandalay.
Listen, sorry, the second one is, as everyone knows, Mayweather and Pacquiao are about to just about break every record in boxing history. But the problem boxing is going to have is, once the two of them are gone, there's no real star power in boxing. I mean, the Klitschko's are still there, but everyone, I'd say, knows Dana White's opinion on the Klitschko's. They're not very entertaining. Now, the UFC, whenever people are injured, there's always someone, there's a Rousey or a McGregor to step up and be the next star. Boxing doesn't seem to have that. So when Mayweather and Pacquiao retire, do you think UFC and MMA will finally put boxing in the back seat, or do you think boxing still has a future to be number one?
Look, I think boxing and MMA are two completely different sports, and I think they're two sports that should be appreciated, separately. I think boxing has had some downfalls in recent years, just due to the fact that I think maybe sometimes fighters have too much power and say in who they fight. The thing with the UFC is you fight who you're told to fight, and the best fighters always fight because of that. You look at, like in the case of Mayweather-Pacquiao, that fight really should have happened 4 or 5 years ago, and it didn't because of all the crap between them. So hopefully, boxing has learned some lessons. Just as we're talking about boxing, I know Bernard Dunn was here today, so just give him a loud cheer. And another fighting Irish legend.
Thanks very much.
What about guys like Carl Frampton and Patrick Hyland and things like that come over from this country? I think boxing still has it, you know what I mean?
I totally understand, but what I'm saying is the difference is, like with McGregor, there was a thing of where he had that reach over to America. And if you look at people like Froch and all, although they're huge over here and in Europe, there's something about America where boxers in Europe, apart from the Klitschko's and the likes of Russians, European boxers don't seem to break into America quite like European MMA fighters do. Like, you have Mirko Krokop, everyone else, they went worldwide famous. European boxers in this day don't seem to have the same effect that MMA fighters do because it's such a growing sport.
Yeah, no, we understand what you're saying, but it is a different sport, as Cottle just said there, and there's different captains to each ship, you know what I mean? And Dana's doing a good job with this one with all the rest of them, so happy days.
Thanks very much, lads. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm afraid this is going to be the last question. We've got to wrap this up. Last question. Sorry, guys.
My question's for you, Dan. Josh Koscheck was a guy you had a lot of beef with. Would that be someone you still like to fight, or given his recent skid, do you think it wouldn't be as competitive as it would have been several years ago?
I'll fight Koscheck at anything, under any rules, any game, any sport, anywhere, anyhow. I don't mind.
It would be like Mayweather Pacquiao.
I've never seen eye to eye with that guy.
It would be like Mayweather Pacquiao. Should have happened 4 years ago.
Exactly. It depends which one I am, though, as long as I'm Mayweather, right?
What?
I'm Mayweather, though, right?
You're Mayweather.
Okay, I'm Mayweather, yeah. Yeah, I'd love to fight Koscheck. There's a lot of guys I'd like to fight.
Anyone else you'd like to fight either?
Sorry?
Anyone else?
Diego Sanchez called me out the other day. I don't know. There's always someone that wants to fight me, so I'm never short of an opponent. I don't worry about that.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay.
Can I just take a second? I've been told to embarrass somebody, so is there an Owen Norton around? I'm supposed to wish him a happy 21st birthday and embarrass him, so happy birthday, Owen.
Is that you? Did you put your hand up there? There he is. Happy birthday, that man.
Happy birthday, pal.
Okay, guys, I want you to make some noise. Last time of the day. I'm sorry, guys, I've got to cut it. I've got to cut it. Last one, go.
It's actually a couple of questions. I just want to ask Joe, are you losing the accent a wee bit, Joe?
Living in Wales for about 20 years doesn't help, but one day I'll get a real one.
No worries. Another one from Norman. Can I get a picture with you, Norman, with the tricolour around me? Both of us.
Whatever rocks your boat, buddy. You know, I'm down for whatever.
Sorry, what was that?
Thank
Whatever
you.
rocks your boat, I'm down for whatever.
Yeah, no worries. I'll see you down at the back of your head.
100%.
Good morning, cheers.
Okay, guys, let's make some noise as these guys leave stage. Joe Duffy, Norman Parke, Carl Pendred, Aisling Daly, Neil Seery, Paddy Holohan, and Paul Redmond. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming. We'll see you again soon.
Turn that up, take it higher, take